Hello everyone, this is going to be a recap for August 27th, 2019. So coming into the morning, I let the room know that 2887 through 2891 was first resistance. And also I'm going to get into how I got some of these zones. I said, if you can hold above, we are looking at the larger time frame breakdown from 2900 to 2905 as next resistance, where first test back up into that zone can have sellers. So how I found 2887 to 2891 was, if you look at the yearly TPO, okay, if you look out, right? So this is your yearly volume profile and TPO. Ignore the TPO; it's not really a big deal in this case. I was looking more at the volume. If you look, um, the 87 through 91 zone. This is where for this year we have some high volume 87 through 89, which also coincided right next to last year's 88 through 91. So that's why I said 87 through 91 is first resistance, because once we get into this zone, it's hard to break away from it, right? Because once we get into this zone, we just find value here and we chop around, and it's hard for the market to break away from this area with ease. So it's going to at least offer a few plays around this zone for bounces or shorts against it. So that's why I said that was first resistance. And if broken, I also said it can act as support if we start to hold above it with positive internals coming back down into it. And I said if we have tick holding above zero and we have then we're retesting the 2887 through 2891 broken resistance zone, you can expect there to be a bounce from the level. So going into the charts, essentially what happens is we come in and we're testing the zone, and at 632, our tick is plus 900. Okay, so this is very clear. And then the second time back down to it, at 644, our tick is still holding above zero at plus 200, so that was just a clear long signal. And our first target was going to be the high volume node 98 through 99. And you can also see that as we're coming up into this zone, Advent decline was actually selling off. So if you wanted to see a sustained breakout, we would have needed to see the Advent decline make higher lows, not lower highs. So this was a pretty clear place to either get out of the longs or flip short. I personally was waiting for 2902 through 2904. I did not take this one over here because if I took this short at 98, my invalidation point is going to be behind 2905, and that's going to be about a 6 to 7 point stop. And if my target is going to be back down into the 91 zone, I'm only going to make 1-to-1 on the risk to reward. And that's not a trade that I want to be taking. So I skipped the short, but the long was pretty nice. A few guys in the room caught this. And then going back down to the chat room. And then in the chat room, somebody asked me if I'm going to take this play at VWAP long. And I told him or her no, and the reason why was because now you have this type of look. Okay, you have people who are stuck here long at the highs, expecting a breakout and continuation, and with this snap down on this bar, that's just very heavy. And if we're going to snap 86s, then we're going to wash. So I was waiting. So seeing this and knowing this, we have the people who are buying these two zones and are getting no clear direction in their favor. Advent decline selling off, right? I'm waiting for these guys to get stopped out. So I told the room I'm looking for, I think it was 72.5. I missed it by one tick. Yeah, at 8:08 a.m. I said, so first of all, I said 78 through 80 is going to be an area I'm looking to get long on first test into. Watching order flow. Canceled. Tick was holding below zero. Okay. So if you look, that was our M high that was going to fill the gap, right? So that was going to be the gap fill. It was near the F high, H high. It was pretty much an inflection point where if we snapped the low, it was going to go most likely. So the first test back down to it, I was looking for bounce off the gap fill, and knowing that now we have people who are getting stopped outright. But then I look at the internals at 810 and look, right here when we're bouncing 1.5 points off the off 80, and tick has been holding below zero for about half an hour. I was looking for this to get above zero. It didn't get above zero, so I canceled it. I told the guys in the room live, like they heard me. So then I'm looking at the next zone, which was at 72.5. And the reason I found this zone was, if you look at the profile again, at 72, it was a volume blip on Monday, right here. See that right there? And value area high as well. So in the Globex, you had a small volume blip at 72. In the RTH, you had value area high also being just about 72.5. So this was an area that I was looking to get long in on the first test, and I called that live in the room. Said at the same time, once I canceled this, I was looking at 72.5 for the long. And if you look, missed it by one tick. The low was 72.75. I called this live in the stream. I said I'm buying 72.5, and it missed by one tick. So that was unfortunate, but it is what it is. And moving forward, I then said at 9:04 a.m. Pacific, looking at mid 60s to get long for bounce, and the reason why was and then at 9:41 I canceled the idea, and the reason why was because we just bounced and now coming back down. Watch delta if you have order flow. I said look at tick. Tick has to start holding above zero, or at least above negative 200 when it's down at these levels. Otherwise, be careful. I have no position yet, and I said the fact that we bounced ahead of the zone, trapped longs, and now we're back down makes it lower odds. It can keep on washing. I said it needs to wash out those people that bought in above 70. I said this is a trend down day, so this is why we are very careful with the longs. Need to be nimble. And on the footprint, there were no bids. So that was all we really had. The main play was in the first half an hour. The longs off the low 90s and the sell or flip back short back down to 91. This was where all the money was made today. If you were looking at the pre-market plan and missed this by one tick, and there was also one order flow trade based off the delta once we came back through 70. The first test back down into it. If you look at the delta, was making higher lows, and that was a clear long trade that you could have taken with a stop below 66 at 68, so you got about 8 points off that. That's about it. That was our day for the 27th, and see you all tomorrow.